Yo folks, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we'll be covering Gran Saga, an action MMORPG. We're doing first impressions, tier list, reroll guides, and all that stuff. Huge thank yous to Pieck Fiction for providing the guides and stuff. Let's go ahead and jump right into this so you guys can see what Gran Saga is all about. And just note the Final Fantasy 15 collaboration is currently occurring for the game. So in case that sort of piques your fancy and you want to try that out, feel free to jump into the game even more. And we are trying the JP version. Let's go ahead and see what this little dungeon cube is going to be, because I know you guys are like, what's the gameplay like? Is this an action MMORPG as you say? But when it comes to this, there's going to be cutscenes and all that stuff in case you're like, hey, is this actually going to be legit? Now, this is going to be the thing. You're like, oh no, it's auto. It's the thing that everyone sort of dreads and doesn't like. Well, you can control your characters. There is going to be a lot of mechanics where you can dodge. You can, roll your skills. You can, use the abilities. It does feel like an action MMORPG. It does not feel like a generic one whatsoever. There's a lot of polish to this. And I do like how it sort of auto-paths you, because sometimes I don't know where I'm going, and you can switch your characters. For example, right there. I don't know everyone's names because there's a lot of characters, and you don't actually summon for characters in this game. You summon for summons, if that makes any sense. There's artifacts, and there's actual summons that are the skills that you guys are seeing right here. In case you're like, hey, how does this sort of work? Is there an actual gacha? Yeah, there is an actual gacha. Just note, it is somewhat necessary so you can have better skills so your characters can sort of perform a little bit better. But at the same time, I think it's pretty reasonable considering the fact that you get every single hero absolutely for free. So we get another cutscene right here. I guess we're going to be facing off against an enemy. And I'm sure this game will look much better because there is a PC version. Look at this Chad right here, where is this edgelord as he struts over. He has a certain way that walks, and I don't really like it. Let's go ahead and skip that. I'm guessing we're going to be fighting this doodah. And everyone's out now, so I'm not by myself. I'm not on my lonesome. This is kind of like the perfect area just to showcase how amazing this game can actually look. Let's switch to another character. And I guess this is sort of a mastery thing where certain skills come off of cooldown. You can switch between characters. That way, everyone's sort of getting their licks in appropriately. And this is going to be the healer, so in case you're like, oh, I do want to try this game, I want to give it a shot, you will want to at least grab her at the beginning, but just know every single character will be unlockable in the future after you beat the chapters. I don't like this guy. He just doesn't scream like an appropriate edgelord, and you can play him in the future. I don't know if that's like a spoiler or anything, but it is something that I saw as I was perusing the Discord. I can't understand what you guys are saying. Go ahead and skip that. So that is going to be the gameplay in rough versions in case you guys want to see more of it. I know you guys don't want to see me auto-pathing and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and skip the auto-path and show you some of the cool things where the game sort of turns itself over. So here's going to be like an overview on the different characters so you guys can see who you can collect. So these are a couple of the characters. Just note you can't use them all right off the bat. Some of them you have to go through the story and you will get them over time. I like this character because she has like a little puppet thing, and what this is showcasing is how the characters will transform. So this is going to be a rare unit, so I believe if you click their skills, they'll cast like, the abilities that they have. So rare units, they don't do much. Let's look at an SR, how this sort of changes. You get more of a cutscene and they do a different skill. But the most important part are the SSRs. And the reason for that is they'll actually do a full-blown transformation sometimes. Let's see. The core ability, or there's going to be some things as core units where they'll do like a full transformation of the unit. Let's see. Does this one transform you? No, this is another skill. And then how about this one? I bet this one fully transforms her. So yeah, this is what you want to see, where the character goes into a completely different state. Those are the characters that you ideally want to summon for because they're kind of irreplaceable. That's sort of a hint at how this tier list and reroll guides and how Gran Saga sort of works. So now that you guys have a basic understanding of everything, let's go ahead and jump into the rerolls. So if you click the little hamburgers right there, the right hand corner, and then you go right here into the cog symbol right here, and then you go right here at the very end where it has like a little character and like a window. You'll click the red little buttons right there. I'm not sure if you see it. So right here, you click there, and you click here, and you hit OK. You hit OK again. It'll reset your account. So a couple of things while you're like, I don't want to stare at like the reroll stuff. This is going to be the guides and everything, right? So accessory guides, resistance guides, and I put it all on a Google spreadsheet in case you're like, hey, how does this all sort of do? I can't remember the steps. So I provided it for you guys, and here's like the tier list and stuff. But we'll cover it in more detail because this tier list is kind of deceiving, and it's not the one you want to look at. Something you want to look at right here. But let's go ahead and agree and say thank yous. We're gonna, sign our rights away so we can play the game. Here's going to be the beginning cutscenes. You can look at it a different time, and the game does look really gorgeous. I'm sure you guys would love to play in the PC versions. I would highly recommend it. I don't know how to do it. Okay, now we're jumping into the prologues. We can go ahead and skip this. And what I really like about this version is you can actually see the full-blown transformation. I think this is a better overview of the gameplay than what I was showcasing earlier. So right here, obviously, you're doing the basic attacks and whatnot, and then you're doing the little skills. This is Last, the main character, or, your standard MC. He's going to be the sword guy, and he does the things, whereas the characters have to beat him up. Oh, this is going to be showing us the switches. We already know, like, the switches, and it's only for the prologue where it shows, like, a cutscene in order to do certain things. Honestly, each character sort of plays differently, surprisingly enough. And there are going to be different roles within the characters. It's going to be the gun waifu. She's pretty much an edgelord in her own right. I like her because you could just stand here and just spam her attack button and she'll just hit everyone. You don't even have to move. Probably the one that's going to take the least amount of effort to play. And then finally we get to the parts where we do the transformations. So you get knocked back, you're like, Last, oh no, I can't move right now because we're in like a lock screen. Okay, so now this is the most important part. You see this little gauge, it's like, oh yes, you can now transform. And there we go, you can see a full-blown transformation. I go Super Saiyan mode. I get like a brand new attack. I can even cast like the skills and they do, a skill and stuff. But the most important part is Last looks a lot cooler. Your attacks pretty much change, and your summons, they will do different attacks based off of the transformation, I believe, as well. That itself is really cool. The only issue is you are heavily reliant on RNG to provide you, the core summon or the core sort of character in order for your character to look like this and do the transformation. That's going to be a look at how this game sort of operates from the transformation perspective. It's really important. I would say it's almost quintessential that you get that transformation right off the gate when you're doing your first like sort of rerolls and stuff. Let's go ahead and name ourselves. So we're gonna do the skips. All right, thank yous, and then the cutscenes. And this time you get to sort of select your character. I'm gonna go ahead and select these two. They're sort of like granted the healer, and she's the best DPS. And then after that, this is going to be like the tank, or I'm going to pick Last in this version. You know what? I'm not going to pick Last. I'm going to pick the waifu over here because that's the way I want to roll. So as you have pretty much beat the initial tutorial right there, you're going to go through some of the auto quests right here. I won't bore you guys with it. I'll jump to like the screen so that you guys can see what is the important auto quest that you need to do. So you can get to like the first roll-in. So we beat that quest. Now it's going to introduce us into the summoning system, or not the summon system, but the gear system that they have, where the gear system involves the summons that you collect. And I guess that's going to be like the waifus that you collect on the way. Go ahead and hit OK right here. OK. And yes. Technically speaking, there's only going to be a limited amount of waifus that you can summon, but at the same time, the transformation abilities allows you to have access to all the waifus at once. Here's gonna be the next auto quest. Get him to safety, heal him. Yes, there we go. It looks like something from like Dragon Quest. Come on, take the slime. There we go. Okay, then it's gonna tell you to do the hamburger stuff. Hit this. This is going to be the world overview. So a little look at how everything is going to be. You're going to jump into a different place on the mappies. All right, we're in this town. We do the skippies. We're gonna walk around. All right, so this is going to finally be the parts where you get your first multi in. And you don't really have to, oh no, she tripped. I don't know, that's a good sign. Is that a good sign? She has like her double, I guess. There's like her normal version, and then this is like her summon maiden waifu version. And right here, I think the summon animation looks phenomenal, by the way, for this game. You pull down, and you pretty much do a slingshot right there. That looks like a rainbow, so we're definitely going to be getting an SSR. So you can see the summons right here. It's very detailed for an MMORPG. You can tell they put a lot of love in this game. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Look at this. Who are we going to be getting right here? Is it going to be an amazing SSR? This looks amazing. I don't know what this is. This is probably an artifact. No, it is going to be an actual waifu, so she looks awesome right there. We get some SRs. I think you're guaranteed 1 SSR from this multi right here, the beginning one, in case you want to like repeat like that tutorial phase in order to get a better SSR so you can summon for a better character. You can do that, but there's no re-rollability factor right there. You're just gonna have to do the whole thing over again. It takes like 5 minutes, I guess, from like the beginning screen all the way to like this. And this is going to be a look at some of the gear options that you have, do the auto equips, thank yous, and then you can see all the characters that you have like I showcased earlier. All right, so we finally unlocked the daily section. You know, just keep going through the game and you will unlock all these different things. You know, the basics of any sort of MMORPG or any mobile RPG in particular. Click the little present box. You go right here into the second buttons in case you try the game. And now you can see the different outfits, so it's more of a Final Fantasy 15-esque collab. And I can jump into last right here, so you can wear the Noctis outfit, because I'm sure some of you guys are sort of curious. But all the different husbandos and all the different waifus, they have the ability to look like the characters that you want them to sort of look like. In case you're wondering, is this guy a husbando? Is this a female? Yeah, it's a husbando because they get the Noctis outfit. But I would have to say the waifu favorite for me in this game is definitely her. I'm spacing on the name, but in case you guys are also like, hey Bork, how does the summon system sort of look? You go right here in the right hand corner and you will see these are different banners, and then this is going to be the Final Fantasy 15 banner. We showcased a little bit earlier, but let's jump into that tier list so you guys can see how this game sort of flows. So we talked about how there's a transformation. Ingrid is going to be the one that you sort of want to summon for, and then this is going to be for last, this character. On the right hand side, there's going to be more details in case you're like PvE or PvP oriented. And then we have this character, her name is Namali. But yeah, this is all thanks to Pieck Fiction for providing all the infos and stuff. And in case you're like, oh, what is the descriptions for sort of the characters? Just note the core character is very important, the one on the very left, because this is the character that they're going to be turning into or transforming into. And here's going to be, you know, male protagonist, heroine, or the healer. Tank, we have our fire mage right here, Darkthorn, which is our edgelord, female gunner, female DPS. We have the light dude, and then the darkness waifus. And yeah, even more characters that you can collect in the future. But this is going to be Gran Saga. I compiled all this information in case you guys want to look at it. But the most important part really is getting the most left-hand core character for each unit, because that is going to be the unit that helps them perform as an actual unit. If you're going to try this game, I feel like it's actually insanely necessary to reroll, or whenever this does come out in global. No set times if this is ever going to come out in global, but I think this is going to be a fantastic game. The action RPG elements are there in case you want to do it. I know the auto path, auto quest sort of things like turn people off, but if this gets an English translation, I feel like it could compete with Tower of Fantasy, because the world building for this is phenomenal. There's an actual world here, there's like progression. It doesn't feel like one of those pump and dump MMOs where you don't know what's going on and everyone sort of looks the same. Everyone has a personality. Everyone has like sort of a flavor that you can understand. It's tropey in some regards, but at the same time, it's easy to understand. You get a sort of feel for what they're trying to do here versus other MMOs where you're just like, okay, there's stuff, and I have no investment in the story whatsoever. But anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 35,000 subs, we're doing a giveaway. Thanks so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic day, and see you guys in the next one.